Who you are, all of us seek now and again for a place to take us away from our day-to-day routine. A special place like the Mississippi Valley. Here, charming towns have endured the centuries by sharing their country traditions and their great river heritage. I'm Ken Stone. We are heading into Wabasha. It is the oldest community in Minnesota. Join us on our journey, and with luck, we'll take home inspiration from local craftsmen, artisans, and innkeepers. Welcome back. I'm Ken Stone at the Wabasha Marina here in southeastern Minnesota, where the Mississippi River is edged with two scenic highways that form the Great River Road. Towering limestone bluffs rise more than 500 feet above. The road eases through landscape which is millions of years old. There's a wide variety of lodgings in the area, country inns, historic hotels, campsites, but if you desire to become one with the river, stay aboard a Great River houseboat. Owner Mike Freeze shows us how easy these Great River houseboats are to drive, even for a landlubber like me. Fully equipped kitchens, hot showers, gas outdoor grills are just some of the amenities on board. Mike's parents used to own the business, but sold it when he was a teenager. He's since bought it back. Some country traditions are just too hard to give up. Nationally recognized as a winter haven for the majestic bald eagle, Wabasha offers the contrast of 1830s architecture against the contemporary design of a landmark bed and breakfast. Elian Lonergan is by the fire to show us creature comforts that soar to raptor heights.
Wabasha's romance with the eagle inspired the creation of a one-of-a-kind inn with an unforgettable view of river life. Let's join Sandy and Dewey Lexfold, creators of Eagles on the River Bed and Breakfast.
It's a dream come true house for me. I discovered it back in 1981 when it was built, and through the next 12 years I drove by and sat out here and tried to draw it. I was totally intrigued by the house. Happened to drive by one night and hear the for sale signs were up, and my heart almost stopped. So I called Sandy right away and I said, the house is for sale, and she didn't have to ask which house it was, she knew. And we called the realtor right away the next morning, and we were sitting down here in the living room 2 hours later. The house is very, very unique. I cannot get enough of it. It's a landmark house, and I'm here and I'm extremely happy about it.
The bed and breakfast is one whole floor of the house, and people have their privacy. We just have 2 rooms. So it's very quiet, and provide them, an experience with a living room with movies to watch, a game room that is kind of our fun part of our life with all the sports that we like. So it was really easy to really get involved in the bed and breakfast with always being a people pleaser. Liking to spend some kind of time in the kitchen, and the house just lent itself very easily to the kind of experience we would want ourselves.
The Lexfolds have other themed rooms with whirlpools and fireplaces at their Intel and Suites location.
Wabasha relishes its claim to fame as the home of the grumpy old men movies, and Slippery's Bar and Grill is no exception. We're just a wing's tip away from the proposed National Eagle Center, so this is the coziest place to eagle watch on the river. Summer's the perfect time, as you might expect, to dine al fresco on walleye or slippery burgers on the riverside deck. And before you make your way home, you can stop at Chuck's Bait Shop for some movie souvenirs or anything else that catches your fancy. In the early 1800s, the mighty Mississippi was a central thoroughfare, bringing settlers and commerce to the upper Midwest. Progress brought new modes of transportation, and Wabasha spurned its river foundation. Modern times also brought pollution to the upper Mississippi. Poisoned as they ate river fish, native bald eagles almost disappeared. Now, construction of a National Eagle Center reunites this vintage city with the river. The American symbol has returned to Wabasha. Director Mary Beth's dedicated volunteers host thousands of eagle watchers at temporary headquarters on Main Street.
Well, it was the community, the grassroots, that started the whole center. After the ban of DDT, the eagles came back, and the people of Wabasha were very excited. You had people looking out their kitchen windows and seeing eagles fly by. What we're trying to do here at the National Eagle Center is to foster environmental stewardship through education about the bald eagle and the Mississippi River. This is a natural spot right here, being right on the northern gateway to the Upper Mississippi Refuge, where hundreds of eagles come every winter. And they winter here because the water is open here and all year round. And they can find open water, they can find trees to roost in, and trees to nest in the summer. And we have people that come down to see this incredible phenomenon that happens here. It's a natural teaching tool.
What better way to learn about eagles than a nose-to-beak experience? Soon, up to 50 non-releasable bald eagles will be housed in a special aviary. Part of the new riverfront complex, this Veterans Living Memorial Aviary honors service in the U.S. Armed Forces.
The comeback of the bald eagle is something to celebrate, and that's what we also want to do here at the Eagle Center, is to celebrate the return of the eagle.
I want you to step back to a cotton candy moment, back to a time when life moved with the rhythm of a calliope, when children's presents came out of their wrappings, ready to use. In 1981, teachers Don and Sarah Kriofsky moved to Kellogg, Minnesota. To keep their kids amused, they built them some wooden toys. But soon, some other parents and grandparents noticed the doll houses and pull toys at local craft shows. Well, now, the wind-ups, tops, and robots are only sold here at the Lark Complex. And the centerpiece is this stunning carousel with its exquisitely carved animals. And yes, people of all ages are invited to ride. Everyone also is strongly advised when they enter the complex to put on one of these mystical necklaces. That's to protect you from the mischief of the resident troll Crowl. That's a lark, spelled backwards. It occurred to me when I saw the thousands of antique toys that just about the only place you might find more nostalgia is in your high school yearbook. From the lead soldiers in Boomer Heaven to the Russian nesting dolls in the Moose Track Museum, the 8 Meadowlark shops are a collector's heaven. The Rockin' Cafe features authentic Chicago hot dogs, and don't miss the Plain Bakery. They have outstanding bread, rolls, and other homemade treats. But most of all, when you come to visit, if you listen very carefully, you'll hear the voice of merriment and wonder, which speaks to the child in all of us. Okay, up next, let's cross the mighty Mississippi to Wisconsin, where we'll find gold and iron on the shores of Lake Pepin, and where we'll join Elian and Chef Patrick Clark. The Great River Road extends about 3,000 miles from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. This National Scenic Byway follows the Mississippi River through 10 American states. Our featured Minnesota communities are tucked along Highway 61, just 90 minutes south of St. Paul. The villages of Pepin and Stockholm hug the shores of a pristine natural lake as the Great River Road weaves through Wisconsin. We're now on the Wisconsin side of the Great River Road, and it's here that we stumbled over an unanswered riddle. Back in the 1920s, Ted Johnson's grandparents wrote letters to each other and signed them with the initials BNOX. The couple since passed away, but they never revealed their secrets. Those mysterious initials now, however, identify the unusual marriage of gold and blacksmithing.
Rebecca, I see an amazing number of original pieces. Can you tell us a little bit about the variety of artisans represented here at Binox?
We do have quite a variety. I represent about 75 artists within the shop, including myself and my husband. I'm a gold and silversmith, and my husband is a blacksmith. Many of our artists are local and regional, although we do pull from across the country. You can see our specialty are the metals, simply because that is our background.
Now, I see you've pulled a couple of pieces that are representative of jewelry unique to this region, right? Can you tell us a little bit about them?
The one closest to you is a Mississippi River pearl. It is an angel wing, they call it. That would be the shape, and it's found in the back of the clam, near the hinge. It naturally takes the shape of where it might lay. The hinge is very long and narrow, and it's creating this long, narrow angel wing shape. I've set it in 14 karat yellow gold to accentuate the pearl and its beauty. The pearl came from an area clammer, in fact a third generation clammer. They may not run into a pearl like this perhaps but once a season.
Now, of course, your husband contributes to the work in this shop as well, and I've noticed a gorgeous table over there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that is an exquisite piece, isn't it? The top is Moroccan fossil, which is quite unique. Its color, the burgundies and golds which you see are very rare to that material. So when we find it, we pick it up immediately. You can also see that the inlay work is quite unique. The ammonite in the center is gorgeous. The table itself is made by my husband, the resident blacksmith. His attention to detail in the leaves as well as the vine work. He has a shop just a few miles out of town where his grandfather homesteaded the property. He's quite proud of the heritage. On occasion, I'll head over to the blacksmith shop and find him working on a table such as that. His subtle hand with the hammer, which you'd usually think of blacksmithing to be quite a loud, very physical art, and it is, but Ted working with something as delicate as one of those leaves is amazing to watch. He's got a very delicate touch and curves each one so that they're different.
The legend-haunted Lake Pepin has beckoned travelers for centuries. Poets and painters, socialites, and yes, even Mark Twain have experienced this boater's paradise. But it's the bittersweet tale of a pioneer childhood that draws the world to Pepin. Laura Elizabeth Ingalls was born in 1867 at a small house in the big woods of Wisconsin. Snug within the family cabin, Laura and Sister Mary loved to hear Pa Ingalls spin frontier yarns. Along with Laura's memories of early Pepin life, these stories became the focus of her first book, Little House in the Big Woods. 8 more editions of the classic Little House series vividly portray the time when Laura and the Midwest were young. The Big Woods and the original Ingalls homestead are gone forever, but Pepin's famous author will never be forgotten. A paved road now follows the original wagon trail to Laura's birthplace. Visitors of many generations are delighted to explore the recreated farmhouse. Children imagine the hardships of American settlement endured by the warm and loving Ingalls family. Laura was only 7 when her family left Pepin and began a restless pioneer journey. She would live in 4 other northern towns. Finally, the Ingalls settled in De Smet, South Dakota. There, she wed a local farmer, Almanzo Wilder. Each September, Pepin celebrates the life of Laura Ingalls by recreating French camps depicting the Indians, soldiers, and traders of the area. Authentic demonstrations of open hearth cooking, traditional crafts, activities, and music fill Laura Ingalls Wilder Park. Once again, covered wagons head west on the designated historic highway through Wilder Country. In this storybook village, little girls still cover their braided hair with calico. Life by Laura's beautiful lake still dances with the tune of Pa Ingalls' fiddle. And the advice of Laura, beloved Pepin author, colors the hills above. It is still best to be honest and truthful, to make the most of what we have. Be happy with simple pleasures, be cheerful, and have courage when things go wrong. A visit to Stockholm, Wisconsin is something like paying a visit to an old friend. And you'll be treated just like an old friend by local proprietors in comfy shops. This Wisconsin village was settled by Swedish immigrants in 1854, and it's experiencing a renaissance of late, motivated by artists and professional craftspeople who moved here for inspiration and a sense of community. And speaking of old friends, hey Ken!
Hey there!
Good to see you. In the historic Merchants Hotel, right behind us, are 10 rooms of antiques, collectibles, furnishings, and home accents, all waiting for us behind this fabulous representation of a Swedish front door. These carefully planned displays provide an eclectic mix of antiques, from fine to primitive. And the trends of mission, country pine, and painted furniture are grouped to showcase these masterpieces of design. Blue willowware abounds in the Anderson room. And circa 1950, Kitchenalia creates a 2-room Peterson suite. The petite historical village of Stockholm, Wisconsin is known for its beautiful gardens. Most every proprietor has a courtyard, front, side, or planter filled with blooms. At the Bogus Creek Cafe and Bakery, lush greenery and whimsical sculptures embrace the garden deck. Owners Colleen and Dave feature innovative regional cuisine flattered by the grape of Wisconsin wineries. While patrons choose their favorite country breads and pastries, our chef Patrick Clark found Colleen Flynn ready to share a Bogus Creek tradition: chicken vegetable soup with parsley dumplings.
At Bogus Creek, what we try to do with our menu is try to make everything as fresh as possible. That's the secret, in my opinion, to good food. Fresh ingredients make fresh food. So what we try to do here with our chicken vegetable dumpling soup is fresh carrots, onions, celery, all in a pot of chicken stock, real chicken stock.
Wonderful.
The thing that makes the soup unique to Bogus Creek is the fact that we do our own dumplings, parsley dumplings. As you can tell here, I've got a pot here with our vegetable soup. And these dumplings are so easy to make, and it adds such a nice touch to the soup. Form the dumplings into a ball, drop it into a simmering pot of soup, and it brings out the comfort in the soup.
It looks so rich and
Can you smell that?
delicious. It's delicious.
It really adds a nice touch to the soup.
It smells so good. Great. And now, to complement our chicken vegetable soup with parsley dumplings, the cafe recommends the Wisconsin cheddar bread, freshly baked at the Bogus Creek Bakery by co-owner Dave Benson. After the Civil War, the original settlers of this Wisconsin area got creative and decided to counterfeit some money. Well, word got out, and when they learned that the authorities were on the way, they wasted no time in dumping their contraband in the creek. Hence the name, Bogus Creek. And finally, a light, fruity Wisconsin prairie fumet completes the meal. To the Bogus Creek Cafe and Bakery.
Here.
In Stockholm, you're always within a block of any place, so it's easy to find Mary Ann Collins Swoboda and her Amish country quilts and furniture establishment.
I have 60 Wisconsin Amish ladies who quilt and piece and applique for me. It allows them to work in their own home with their children around them and to make some money, which they definitely need when you own an 80-acre farm and you have a few horses and some cows and you've got 14 children. You need the money. I try to have my quilts be very original. You know, I don't buy a lot of fabric. I maybe buy 5 yards at a time because I don't want my quilts to look alike. I lay out the pattern, I write down to the size, everything, where everything's going, each fabric, you know. And then I take it to the Amish lady and she does the work. She gets paid when the work is done and she gets brought more work. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. I get the very best quality because the Amish ladies always tell me, Mary Ann, you're so fussy. Well, I've been called worse than fussy, so, you know. I have a wonderful piecer, Amish lady. I swear she'd be president if she weren't a woman and she weren't Amish. Miriam.
But other than that,
Yeah.
she's perfect for the
Oh,
job.
she is. She is so smart. She really is. But she's so funny because I really expect a lot of my ladies. And I sketched this out and I sent it down to her and said, you know, can you make this pattern? Yeah. This is all circular piecing. It's very difficult. And I got a letter from her, and she always starts her letters with Christian greetings. Yeah. And she wrote, Dear Mary Ann, Christian greetings. This is some kind of a pickle you got me into this time. A quilt takes you back to quieter, simpler time. It's beautiful, it's a piece of art. I think that this is one of those things that's for the soul.
The seasons move with grace and serenity in this ageless Mississippi River Valley. Scored by nature's arrangement of tundra swans and migrating geese, the celebration of life at its best is year-round. It's time for us to go. I'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to everyone who let us step across the welcome mat. They're waiting for you.